Well after 12:30, so good afternoon everybody. Welcome to where are we? June's teeth brief for a run through of QPS. And as ever, I'll just go around and see for you and corporate teams, and if there's anything you want to flag up in terms of news as well, I'll put you on the spot. So hands up if you've got anything you want to share. So starting with quality, worst kept secret. So all I've got to say to you is you're not allowed to share this outside. Okay, so no tweeting, no Instagramming, no Facebooking, no whatever you may choose to do. And most of you, I imagine, will know this already because we haven't made a secret of it. But fantastic result. It is still in draft. Okay, so it is a draft report that landed last Tuesday lunchtime. And we are working through the process now of factual accuracy, which is what it says on the tin, making sure that there are no glaring factual accuracy errors that we feed back with a process that is being worked through at this moment as we speak, to be finalised within the next 48 hours, fed back to CQC to finalise the report. The aim for factual accuracy, remember, is to just correct factual accuracy. It is not to end up going from green to amber. Okay, so we do sometimes, don't we, have a little bit of a tendency to shoot ourselves in the foot and maybe draw attention to, but we've been through it very comprehensively. I have to say, do a compare and contrast with the last report received. It's a sea of green, only interspersed with a little bit of orange, and those all were existing ratings that were there. So sea of green, fantastic stuff. But actually the quality of the report is so much better than last time, giving us a lot of confidence in the inspection, which was something that was very different. Last time's report was full of inconsistencies, typos, and stuff that's really hard to grapple with. It does dent your confidence in terms of the process when you see such things appear in a formal document. But this one is very clear, it's very precise, it's a very good report, it's favourable to us. It says, I think, it's what we deserve. It reflects what people said at the time and what was fed back to us at the time. So this is a big thing for us, and fantastic achievement. It's still draft, and we obviously need to wait through the process to follow up, but then we'll be able to make a formal announcement in due course. Another big thing for us, really, and it was last Friday, was we had a Quality Academy Summit. Looking around the room, many of you were there for either part of the day or the whole day, voluntarily or otherwise. First summit around lots of things that we need to do and embrace and take forward if we are going to move on to the next stage of our quality journey. So we have a programme, don't we, that's getting to good, moving to outstanding. I think the first bit of that will be crossed off and become the moving to outstanding agenda for the next, 18 months, 2 years, who knows what the CQC inspection regime will look like in the future. But this has got to be front and centre of how we get there. So much more around research of all forms, innovation of all forms, service, quality improvement, whatever you want to call it, evidence-based medicine, whatever you want to call it, across all of the professions, across all of the specialties. If we're going to ever stand a chance of being not just within the pack and be good, and dare I use the word average, dare I use the word mediocre, if we're truly to be outstanding, we need to be really good at this stuff. So Quality Academy, it's in its various earliest stages, foothills of development, but we're going to do much more through Quality Academy coming forward. And I think, as I said at the time last week, it's going to make for some very interesting careers for people, some interesting portfolios people are going to have, and we really need to take it really seriously and put some decent resource into it to make it work. But this has got to be front and centre of our agenda to become an outstanding organisation, which I think we believe we should be, we're capable of being if we set our sights a bit higher. one thing that comes across really, really clearly when you read CQC, our report and other reports, is all about getting the basics right. Absolutely fundamentally nailing the basics. Almost, I won't use the word tick box, but there's a list of things that you have to be doing well on. The things that you would expect to see around training, appraisal, PDRs, infection control, blah, blah, blah. You know, the list is quite significant under all of the key lines of inquiry. But it's getting the basics right and having improvement methodology applied to some of the things that are really difficult problems for us and everywhere. Things around falls, tissue viability, etc. And so we are, much like we should do when it comes to the Quality Academy stuff, embracing other help that can be brought into the organisation, from organisations like the research networks, innovation agencies, anybody that's giving stuff away vaguely free to support us, we should embrace. And the Falls and Tissue Viability Collaboratives are all about that. I don't know whether, Kimberly, do you want to say anything about the refresh of the nursing and midwifery strategy and patient experience?
I will do, thank you. So I'll take them both together. There'll be some large engagement events across the organisation for, of course, the nursing and midwifery staff. We do want to hear from nearly, well, hopefully every member of staff, nursing and midwifery. And on the patient experience front, Trish will be leading that. Give everybody aware of Trish, with John, on the development of a new patient experience strategy that will go hand in hand with the patient involvement strategy. We really do need to take the voice of our patients in every service now and take those issues forward and those challenges. It's not easy, but it's what we need to do. And again, on the moving to outstanding, it is really what's expected. And more importantly, we get the best of our services staff when we hear directly from the patients on their views anyway. So those two areas we'll be taking forward over the summer months and in the early autumn.
Thank you. I make no apologies about talking about A&E performance yet again, because when we talk about, we talk a lot about colours, don't we? And we love green. We really do love green. And we would like to be green for all of our key performance indicators, but unfortunately this one is, like many others, eluding us and has eluded us for some time. If we were to crack this, I think we would be in an entirely different place. I think we would feel like we're in an entirely different place. Really difficult nut to crack, undoubtedly. This isn't just about us. This is a system issue, and I'm not looking at anybody in particular before anybody. This is a whole trust issue. However, it genuinely is a whole trust issue. The reason that I mention it now is we have achieved what NHS Improvement set as our trajectory for 4-hour performance for both April and May. We are within touching distance, aren't we, of achieving the trajectory set, well short of the 95% standard, but nonetheless within touching distance of the trajectory set for June. And in the last few days of June, every breach counts. So we want to be on every one, because it does make a difference when we flag up green for something like this. The pressure comes off quite significantly just to get on and do the job, and that's what we want people to do, just to let us get on with it ourselves without too much external interference. So it's up there. It's not just about A&E. It's obviously about how the whole trust, the whole organisation on both sides responds to pressures. And all of the issues with regards to pressures goes, we talk about it all the time. I won't reflect upon it too much, but it seems daft that we're talking about this in May and June. But this is the normal, unfortunately. This is it now. So let's not wait for the storm to pass. This is normal. It wasn't that long ago that you used to walk into places like acute medical units on a morning and have empty beds. I can't remember the last time we did that. So we are dealing with something very different. May was one of our busiest months for every year, I think, something like that.
Yeah, in the last 12 months.
In the last 12 months, May, that's unheard of. So we're in a different place. So plea really is to make sure that everybody, every team is responsive enough to the demands placed on the emergency department so that we can achieve what we need to achieve from the trajectory for 4-hour performance this month, because another green would stand us in good stead, bearing in mind some of the publicity that will hopefully come out of the next few weeks with regards to our CQC report. Anything else you want to say about that, Dan?
No, I think you've summed it up. I think we're at about 79.5/80%-ish as of today. So it's still all to play for in the last 4 days. So thanks for everyone's support up to now and their continued support as we finish the month on Sunday.
What is our trajectory?
81%.
81.
So it's still well short of what previously we were marking about. There's something around what's being counted and what's not. So comparing apples with apples is difficult these days. That's for sure. So there are only 2 ways of improving that number. Reducing the number of breaches, which is the right answer, or going and pulling more people into the hospital, which is generally not a great way of dealing with things. So the former has got to be the way that we deliver it. People. We've had over 290 nominations for the full gamut of all of the thank you awards. Obviously people are looking forward to getting dressed up and having a bit of a party, which we're probably overdue, I think, aren't we? So the long listing, short listing process is underway, and the shortlisted nominations will be invited to the awards, and it will be the classic reveal on the night. So bit of intrigue and excitement coming up. With how many categories have we got?
We've got 9.
9 categories. Okay, so including all of the employee of the month winners and teams have been invited to. Okay, next. Quality, diversion, inclusion. Again, a really important topic for big organisations like ours, where sometimes we do well, sometimes we don't do quite so well. Again, we are marked significantly for this when it comes to things like CQC inspections. CQC take this sort of stuff really seriously, and indeed we should. And so there's a whole host of things that we want to push over the coming weeks and months to make sure that we're giving our best shot at this particular agenda item. And so there are messages and things that every individual can do, every employee can do, as well as every manager, and the kind of things we're going to put in place in terms of training. So Deb, do you want to talk a little bit about what you want everybody from here to do and take out?
Yes, thank you. So there's 3 key messages and 1 action for everybody, if that's okay. So the 3 key things that we wanted to let you know around equality, diversity and inclusion relating to the workforce are that we're asking all of our staff to self-report their protected characteristics on ESR, and that's really important because we use that data to tell us where there might be some inequalities across our workforce, or where there might be some opportunities to improve, and we have to use that data and scrutinise it in a number of different ways on an annual basis. So the more data we've got, the more action we can take. The second key message is that we are going to be introducing some staff networks to support staff with different protected characteristics to have a real voice in the organisation. So whether that's our BME staff, our disabled staff, LGBTQ+ staff, we really want to sort of support that and put that in place, and we want staff to be involved in making the decisions about how we implement those networks, because those networks will be run by staff for staff. It won't be something that we do to people and offer it out. And the third key message is that we've introduced some new training on equality, diversity and inclusion for line managers. So if you think about who has the biggest impact on your day at work, and whether you have a good day or a bad day, quite often that's your line manager. And it's really important that we give line managers the right skills to create an inclusive environment in their teams. So we've introduced some new training for that. So they're the 3 key messages. The action, actually I'm going to give you 2 actions if that's okay. So the first action is if you go on the extranet, look under workspaces and look under E for equality and diversity, you will find information about how to do all of these things that I've just described to you, and a lot more information about equality and diversity and inclusion across the trust. The second thing is I've brought a pile of our equality, diversity and inclusion strategies, and they're just on the end there. Thank you, my glamorous assistant. And if I could just ask you to take one or a few back to your teams so that people can have a look at them. And if anybody wants any more information or they want to get involved in anything that we're doing, please just come to somebody in HR now as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Good stuff. Sustainability. So I could have put this up the top, couldn't I? You may or may not have seen the press stuff last week. I think it was, is it a week to the day? It was like a long time ago. About my choice. And what I wanted to bring it here for today is to be really clear with those. So this has hit the Daily Mirror. That doesn't happen very often in most people's careers, does it? And certainly it doesn't happen very often when you're getting phone calls from number 10. That gets a little bit scary. However, just to be absolutely clear, that there has been a lot of the getting the wrong end of the stick with regards to this as far as media is concerned. And we, just to be clear here, we do not charge NHS patients for NHS procedures in any way, shape or form. Never have done, never will do, and in fact we can't, even if we wanted to. I mean, we shouldn't anyway, should we? My choice was all about giving patients an additional avenue if they didn't meet the criteria set by the commissioners, not by us, for certain procedures. Really complicated to explain, and I'm not going to be able to do it in a short space of time. But basically there's a long list of procedures, quite rightly, that have an evidence base behind them that are deemed criteria-based treatments. So in order to have the commissioners pay for it, you have to meet criteria. Now most people do meet those criteria, but some people don't and might not in the future. And this is about building some potential sustainability in it for our point of view when some of these more simple procedures are no longer offered by us because they're no longer commissioned, but then go into the private sector. Because what's left classically is all of the really difficult stuff, the bigger stuff, the things that we can't squeeze an extra case onto a list, the sorts of things that necessarily you can't automatically train somebody on as easily as others. And it's giving an extra choice to patients on that basis. It's somewhere between NHS and private, and it's based on NHS tariff. We paused the whole thing because of the concerns, and it's right for us to listen to the concerns that emerge under these circumstances. We'll come back and tell you what the conclusions of that pause are. We haven't actually put anybody through the scheme anyway, so it's not like we've earned £1 million from doing it since its inception last November time. But just to be really clear here that we're not charging NHS patients for NHS treatments. And in fact, actually, our private income is down here compared to other similar sized organisations in the patch. So just bear that in mind, a bit of context, and we're not bad people for even suggesting it. Finally, I think something around where we are with the money. So it's just worth saying again another big thank you to those of you that do manage the balance between money and quality and all of the stuff in between. That actually we're pretty much on par with where we should be as a trust from terms of our plan. And you will hopefully remember, if you don't I'll tell you now, that we've set ourselves a target of achieving a zero balance control total, so a break-even position at the end of this financial year. That's a big ask for us. It's the first time it's happened for many, many years. That's with the help of what's called provider sustainability funding that we bring into the trust to give us the opportunity to break even and not have to borrow money to pay all of our wages and to keep the cash flowing nicely. So we're on plan. As ever with these things, it's really important that when we do what we tell our regulators we're going to do, and we stay on plan with it. Okay, that's all from me. I'm not gonna pick on individuals. I'm gonna give people the opportunity both from CBUs and